G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is the Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term KP?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from RCW Review.
This is Mac Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Brand Adam Pearce, and you are locked in to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome, everyone, to your longest-running Australian wrestling podcast, Wrestle Radio Australia. I'm your host, Todd Eastman, and I'd like to say a lot went on this week in wrestling, but we all know nothing's happening at the moment. So it's so true. Like the whole aim of this show was to help promote the shows that are going on around the country, and sort of had to pivot for a little while. And the man Ming and all of that in the background is my guest this week, current Riot City Wrestling Champion, undefeated so far this year. Really, you're doing quite well, mate. No one's even challenging you. Rocky Menero.
No, listen to me, mate.
No.
G'day, buddy. How are you, guys?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. This whole one and done thing for you could actually backfire, because by the time we all get back to it, everyone will be back ready to go at you.
There's actually I was looking at the other day, and I think I've already become now, with the delay, the longest reigning RCW champion of all time. I've passed Brady Marshall. But if we offer another month, on the 24th, so we're all, 24th of May was when I won it. So that's back, and he's eligible. So I'm going to be ducking shots from everybody when I come back. I'm going to get rid of these people.
It was such a good idea to start with, wasn't it?
It worked in theory, much like communism.
It was foolproof until.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no one saw the Spanish Inquisition or the COVID-19.
No, that's true. That's true. So aside from all of that, mate, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been trying to keep busy. I'm growing my hair out. I don't know if you see, it's very grey. But I'm trying to steal Andrew Gaze's nickname of Grey Mamba. I've been training, I've been drinking, and I've been watching a lot of sports and, old sports and wrestling.
Yeah. The one thing I've sort of, and I haven't even started watching them because it was just so many hours in the day. You don't have time to do anything. I've watched hardly any NXT UK.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to start watching that from day dot and see. That might give me might give me my fix for the thing, because I said last week with Davis, I can't really watch the stuff that's being filmed at the moment because there's no crowd reaction, and for me that's part of the show. It's as big as part of the show as anything. So in the UK, crowds are great. So I think that's what I'm going to start doing from now on. Just start watching those and see how I go with it.
Well, it's just the crowd thing's it's the most obvious thing, but it's that you listen to people say that what's the best WrestleMania match of all the time, and it's like, if you don't think it's Rock and Hogan, there's something wrong with you. But they also say that if you watch that match in mute, it's fucking terrible. So you need those crowd reactions are what makes those shows great. And I mean, one of my favorite shows of all time is the One Night Stand when RVD beat Cena.
Yes.
And it's a smaller crowd, but they were that into it that it was just like, well, this is the best. You've got to go for this. That's
the Hammerstein, isn't it? That
the ballroom.
That venue is amazing for it. Even with the older, the ECW and TNN tapings they did to start with was amazing, because they were in the smaller ballroom, and so the crowd looked like they were just on top of everybody when they went in. And
I'm a huge fan of anything with a balcony level.
Yeah.
It just adds to so much, it just adds to the atmosphere of the show. If you've got people, literally, if you're working the people around and then you look up and there's another row up there. That's why I used to love Fairbairn Theatre.
Yep.
And the first few times we did Don Polsky Center, same thing. They had that upper level, and you're still sort of working for the crowd around you. But also, it's good for wrestlers to learn that, because you learn to keep your chin up. I teach the younger guys a lot when I've done a few of these Zoom training sessions and stuff like that now, and it's just teaching people to present when they're wrestling. And so, because sometimes you do get worried that you're going to look stupid.
Yeah.
And you tend to just like, oh, I'm going to do all this, I'll do all the actions, but I'm just going to keep my head down because I don't want to make eye contact though I might laugh at you. But then you just sort of, when you've got the upper level, it sort of forces you to go look up there. And then, okay, so when you're up there, now you're taking in everyone, not just the people at the front row. So, yeah, it's actually good for you.
And not only that, if your head's down, you can't actually see your opponent, so you don't know if something's coming at you anyway.
Most of the guys just doing dance matches these days, so that's fine. They know what's coming. Just choreography.
Starting out early, isn't he?
Oh, no. I only make fun of it because I've got the world's shittest memory and I can't remember more than 3 spots. So I love the guys can do it, but yeah, there's nothing worse than when it gets like good choreography, like your classic one that everyone sort of looks back at, the old. I mean, we can go back to RVD and Jerry Lynn, but also the Ricochet Will Ospreay one. That was fucking flawless. But those two are incredible. When Joe Bloggs and what's her name just try it at the local show and they don't have the timing, the athleticism, or just the talent, then it looks shit. So it's just like, why? I understand the whole thing of risk taking and trying to like exceed expectations, but play within your limitations. I mean, like I learned pretty early on that I wasn't going to be the most athletic guy. Like when I started out, we had guys that could do moonsaults and dives out the ring and this and that, and they did all the moves and did all the stuff really cool. And I first ever moonsault attempt, and anyone that was there would know, we'd have a good laugh about it. I grabbed the top rope, I chucked like a springboard off the second, jump up, put my feet on second. That's where my memory stopped.
Oh no!
Apparently, I went up and straight down on my head, and then I remember laying there with my head in the corner and laying on my back and feet out there, and Steve O'Neill just walks up and goes, "How you doing there?" And I went, that was my one and done. That was my first and only attempt at a moonsault, and I just went, you know what? This is just not me.
I'm a mat wrestler.
I'm gonna play within my talents. I can tell a story, I can sell, and I can throw a pretty good working punch. So it's like, well, I'll just stick to what my strengths are. I'm not going to try to like. It's like these people want to be this guy when they're this guy. It's like, why not play to your strength? Why? Like, it's like the old ECW thing. Hide everyone's weaknesses, play to their strengths, and then everyone thinks it's like amazing.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to be the exceptional one. It's like, there's exceptions to rules all the time, and you're not the exception.
That's one thing I have noticed over watching a lot of like the various generations of wrestling, because those guys like your Hogans, your Flairs, your Steamboats and that didn't plan out a hell of a lot. They did of course they would have had their little spots that they always have, but they didn't plan out a lot. So you notice there was never really spots where they're just standing there looking at each other or botching something. Because they were just naturally going into.
Well, everything. I mean, I was taught by like our old trainer, Cole Gavani, like RIP. He was from that old school of like, he had that real English style, which is a lot of mat wrestling and as me and Slaps love, just catch can. That just sounds cool. I just like saying
it. Does.
But we got taught, we didn't get taught psychology from Cole, but we got taught basically the same way he got taught, which is this is real, protect it with your life. Like learn how to do everything properly. And so a lot of like transitions that we learned was, right, do this spot, grab a hold, and then work from there. Because technically it's a wrestling match and you want to wrestle your opponent. And that sort of things. Like, so if you watch all those old matches, and like the old 80s and 90s stuff that we loved, what's an exchange finishes? It's not a rest hold. It's just, okay, we're pulling this in, let the crowd come back down, then we can go into something else. But we're still making it look like I'm in a fight and I'm trying to beat you with this wrestling talent that I have, this catch can wrestling ability that I have. And so I think that's what's lost.
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys are just like, oh, no, we just do this spot and that spot and this spot and that spot and this spot and that spot. Like, yeah, it's cool when it kind of makes sense, but you're still going to make it look like it's a wrestling contest.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's gone. Yeah.
It's also the fact that like you don't listen to the crowd. Like that's what they did. They like back in the day, they do their spot, grab a hold, listen to the crowd and what they want.
Mm.
And you had the guys that could feel like Hogan knew how long he had to take heat before he's ready for his comeback. And he would be like, not yet, because you could feel it in the crowd. And nowadays, I don't think a lot of the guys, I'm sure there are some that do it and probably do it very well. But a lot of the other guys is like, well, no, this is the match we have and we've planned it. Let's not deviate from that. Like perfect example for me was the first ever international show that I went to was Wrestle Riot at Thebe.
Yeah.
The big one that everyone that's in Australian indie wrestling now that was a certain age, apparently they were all at that show in Adelaide. And I wanted to go, we were too poor. But it was Jim the Anvil Neidhart against Jake Roberts. Right? And at that time, I mean, in America, Jake had just come off the WrestleMania run where he'd just been like taken out by the Taker, I believe. I believe that's what it was. And so he was full blown heel. Jim was still Jim the Anvil from the Hart Foundation, good guys. So they came out playing up to that. And personally, I wanted to see that DDT. So I started chanting, like me and my friends all started chanting DDT, DDT. They noticed it, and you could see them just look at each other, and both characters changed straight away. All of a sudden, Jim Neidhart was Jimmy Hart's Anvil, and Jake the Snake was old school Jake the Snake with and everything. And that to me, that's working. He's like, hang on, the crowd doesn't want me to be a heel
tonight. Yeah.
We don't
have TV. We don't have an ongoing storyline. Yeah,
exactly. Let's just give them what they want tonight, and that's working for me. That is working, and I'm sure they probably had a different match, completely different match planned, and they just threw that out and went, "All right, we're going to do this now."
Well, it's just I mean, it's those situations where you've got to sort of throw out. That's why I don't like having too much plans. I mean, like I said, on top of the fact that I'm too dumb to remember things, I do want to give myself some wiggle room to kind of go, okay, well, that didn't work, or this is working, or every now and then you just know you need to, you learn to listen to the beat of the crowd. And I learned it from, I thought I was pretty good at that sort of stuff until I wrestled a Wrestle Rock show. The first one I did against Slexy. And it was the first time me and Slex had been friends for years, and we finally had a match together. And he's younger than I am, and I'd been doing it a bit longer, so I thought, but
I'll look
that's
after
when I learned how good he was. Because I distinctly remember, I was working face, even though it was in Melbourne, and he was people knew who he was, but he was working heel, and we did the old chin lock, and I'm about to start coming up, and I was getting a pretty tepid response. To the comeback, to the crowd start to G you up, get the clap going, this and that. And I was just I just went into that, it was one of those memory moments. I went into that whole thing of just, I'm going to get up now, I'm going to rush this. I'm just going to, it's good enough, I'll just go. And he just pulled me and he goes, no, I'll come. Okay. Okay. And so we just laid there for another 30 seconds, and then the crowd went, all right, well, it was us telling them, you fuckers, we're not working for you, you're working for us. So it was that whole thing of you do what we want you to do, not the other way around. We're not your puppets, you're ours. And he just held me in a little bit tighter, and then after about that 15, 20 seconds, the crowd started to come, but really came this time, because they were just well, if we don't come, they're going to give us
he's going to stay there. He's going to lay there.
And it worked. The rest of the match really went off pretty well, but it was just, I just remember that moment just kind of going, and then that one just always stuck with me. I was just every time you hear a crowd, and I remember, and then, because the next time I went, was when they did one of the tours. They used to do the tours every year, WWE. And I happened to be in Melbourne on the Friday night when they did the Melbourne show, or Friday or Saturday. And big shout out to Big Ron Herbstreit for giving us free tickets. And then he also gave us tickets to the show in Adelaide. It was a Monday night.
Mate, I tell you, that fucking guy. I love him. I love him. I love him. But we're at the it was the last time they did the NXT tour. And I went to the one of the Gold Coast, and we were getting merch and that, and I ran into him, and he goes, "Oh, do you need tickets?" I'm like, "I'm here."
It would have been nice to know.
It would have been nice to know before, bro. But yeah, I love it. I really do like it.
He's the man. He's a big man of Australia. But I watched the show, and then because I got to see the same matches pretty much on the Friday, Saturday, whatever it was, and then replayed on the Monday. And they'd mix up a few things here and there, but you'd see the spots that work. The one thing I noticed, whenever someone pulled on chin lock and the crowd started coming, they never went on the first time. It was just like the crowd would come up, they'd give them a little bit, back down, pull them, hold again, make them come a second time. You know, because the crowd kind of knows, you know, like they know, like the crowds aren't dumb these days. They know what's going on. But the problem is because they know what's going on, they feel like they've got the power. So once you get down to the chin lock, I've seen it. Like literally, someone pull the chin lock, pull them down to the mat, the crowd will start
away, yeah.
And so the wrestlers will kind of go, "Oh, I heard the crowd's coming." It's like, motherfucker, you will come later. You know, like, I'm not ready yet. Plus the fact is, I'm breathing pretty heavy now, and I have my breath back. But I just noticed, like, from the WWE guys, that was what they did. Yeah, every time. If someone came, no worries. They would shut it down and make them come again. And then every time, that second time, always got the better reaction. It's just like, throw that one away. Someone's just like that. It's that taking control of the crowd. Don't let them take control of you. You know? Like, don't listen to them. Like,
there's also the flip side of that too, especially in like in tag matches. When you see like the heel tag team just put that little bit too much heat.
Yeah.
You feel that crowd coming up. And like I've been in those matches where I've said to them, like I've been managing in the corner and I've said, cut off now, like now. I'm like, no, I've got this extra, like I think I said it and the baby face overruled me. He's like, no, we've still got this bit. And I'm like, all right. And the crowd died. The crowd died. They went for the tag, and it was but it wasn't as big as what it would have been if they had. I said, and we got to the back. I went, you remember when you hear that crowd, then they just went, so yeah, I said, killed them. That's when you killed them.
The thing is, you can let that happen if they learn from it. You know, like I said, I learned from that night with Clexi, and I even had it one night. I did a show here for Wrestle Rampage with Slater. And we had a pretty good match, and we were going to end it on a submission. But we had a bit of back and forth, blah, 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 blah. I went for a super kick. He blocked it reverse. He hit super kick. Huge pop. 1, 2, kick out, because I was going to go into the submission like 10 seconds later. Reverse around, bam, gets me in the submission. I tap out. And the response was, We got backstage, and it was actually Craig Cole, like the Pitbull. He goes, should have gone home on the scissor kick. And I'm like, I felt it too. I'm like, I fucking felt it. Like, I should have gone home. Like, and you just know it sometimes. And the thing is, like, that's that learning experience. You know, like, I would never go again because the response to the super kick was that good that when he hit me with it, bam, and they got to the pin, the crowd was all in it. And if we'd got the 3 there, they would have exploded. But we got, you know,
you got greedy.
Got greedy. But the thing is, you just learn the things. And anyone can make a mistake. You know, you're not going to like break someone's balls for making a mistake. But you make the same mistake twice, that's when your ass going to get chewed out. You know, like it's like I'm sort of glad that I'm happy to adapt. You know, and like I've always been pretty reasonable with that. You know, and like I'm willing to adapt as long as it makes sense. You know, if you tell me your why, and if there's actually like a physical response I can see from the crowd, that's going to affect the decision. But if you just go, oh, you should do this instead of that, because all of it's like, no, I don't care about it. Cool.
I'm also a big fan of, like, if they do that really big falsie, to follow up the finish very close to that.
Yeah, you don't want to drag that on too much later.
No, because that's when you burn the crowd out. They're like, oh, I've already seen it. I've already seen a massive falsie. That's when you do something like the guy goes to the big clothesline, you wrap up, roll up, 1, 2, 3, holy shit.
Yeah,
that sort of shit. Instead of another big move.
You got to get out when the getting's good.
Yeah.
I think that's the. I mean, I've been copping a bit of stick for it recently from our boys, but there's like you, like even I mean, like Dane, old Green Smash,
Grizzled.
and he loves teasing me for being old, but he just goes, mate, you have the greatest body clock of all time. He goes, you never come in a second over time. He goes, you are up to and 30 seconds before time every show. It's like, well, things are supposed to go a certain time for a reason, young man. So that's why. And I'd rather get out early and have people go, I wish I'd seen more, than have people go, oh, that was over. That's great. Yeah. Like, it's like when you go see a great movie, it could be like, I know The Irishman is going to be good, but I haven't watched it yet because it goes for 3 hours. I know I'm going to enjoy it, but I know I have to set aside a long period of time to watch it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like,
it took me ages to watch it.
I think I've watched like a couple of action movies. Like recently, I watched Commando the other night, and that went for a nice, cool 85 minutes. And I could probably watch that again tonight, and it wouldn't bother me because it goes for a nice, smooth 85 minutes. Like, stick to the short matches. Like every now and then, throw a nice long match on there if it makes sense, and you need to have your epics. And that there is a place for the epics, but not every match needs to be an epic. Like there is a lost skill, or like there's another one that me and Rowan always like laugh about, is the lost art of we've got what we call the TV match. Like every show, like local show, needs your 2 or 3 TV matches on the card that are just a good tight 8 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm talking like entrance to exit 8 minutes, not like a big outlandish entrance. 8 minutes of wrestling, and then like you finish, get in, get out.
My biggest argument for that, for whenever anyone ever complains about that shit, when I'll sit there and I'll read out the card, I'm like, you got 5 to 8. This is what I want from the show. And then if anyone ever complains about time, I'm like, you want to eventually go to WWE, right? And I guess, how long do you reckon you're going to get on average for a match there? You need to learn to work these short matches. Like, that's what you're going to be doing, brother.
Minutes or something. The average matches are like 3 to 4 minutes tops. Like
well, not now because I need to stretch that shit out over.
True. But that's the thing. Like you need that. You need that skill of how can I get a story over with 3 moves, because that might be all you get to hit in 4 minutes. Like how do you do it? You're gonna try to stuff 20 pounds of crap into a 5-pound bag, or you're just gonna give them enough that they want to kind of go, oh, I want to see that guy again.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Old man philosophy.
Yeah, well, when we discussed about doing this show, we were just like, wonder how long it's going to take us before we both get cancelled, some way, shape, or form.
I don't think we're not saying anything that's like.
No, not now, because we're steering away from the grizzledness that we.
It's just the whole thing of like it's just a difference. I know I could admit, and it's just a difference in crowd and opinion, and it's just like cool, like it's just wrestling's not what it was, and like it's never going to be that again. I've learned to deal with that. It doesn't mean I don't. I just it's never going to be as mainstream popular as it was, purely because there's no mainstream characters. Like I mean, you and I have been loving this Last Dance documentary with the Bull. To try to put this into context to like some of the younger guys that listen to the show and, who are wrestlers now, Dennis Rodman was about as popular as an athlete as you could possibly get. And he skipped out on training to be part of WCW, like to be involved on Nitro and like be involved in a wrestling show. Like, it's not just like I always say that, like, you watch the crowds at a wrestling show, like an AEW or that sort of stuff. There is some people in those crowds, well, majority of the people in the crowd, that if they were lucky, have seen 5 human breasts in person in their life. Like there's just, and like they probably had to pay to see at least 3 of them. Like there's a lot of crumb-covered virgins that are like, oh, I'm not that weirdo, but hey, girls in the back, can I send you a message and see a picture of your feet? Like there's
I was waiting on the feet.
Wrestling crowds are full of those people. You look in the crowd and it's just like, that's what they are, you know. Like it's but when you watch those old shows, I mean, obviously there was still going to be a few nerds and this and that back in the night, but you looked in the crowd, it was, you know, college kids. It was like going to like a gig, you know, the hot new band. You go to their gig. That was a wrestling crowd, you know, because that was the gig. That was the cool thing, because the guys in the ring were rock stars, and they lived and acted like rock stars. And, you know, so genuine rock stars like, you know, Dennis Rodman and stuff wanted to get involved, you know, and it was the cool, ideal thing to be, you know, like, it's like, oh, yeah, all right, old man, yeah, everything was cool in your days. It's just like, you can't argue with those facts, you know, like, even now, there's a song on the charts on Triple J. Well, I don't know if it's on charts. It's on Triple J. They played a lot. And my missus played it to me the other day, and it's called Stone Cold. And it's just this young girl singing about Stone Cold in Boston. And it's actually a really cool song, but it's like, it's this new pop song, like this alternative indie song, and it's like he hasn't wrestled in almost 20 years. You know,
no shit, yeah.
It's like you remember his run of being Super Duperman, mid '97, started 2003, done. He didn't wrestle again after 2003, and that was like Mania 2003. So like from like think of like his real coming out party, what, like late '96 against Brett. You know, like the King of the Ring, up to March in 2003. That's a really short fucking window. And you got to remember, in the middle of that, what did you miss? At least 18 months with the
neck injury.
The neck.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's like, so that to have that sort of cultural impact in that smaller span of time, it just sells the point. You know, like you would never, like people joked about WrestleMania being the only event on, and it was in front of nobody, that sort of stuff. And so people watched that, you know, like the general mainstream media, and just sort of laughed at it. It was just like, why would you do that? You know, and like wrestling's just a carnival spectacle. It's not a real sport. Why would you do it in front of no one? Because that's the whole point of it, is it's supposed to get a reaction from the crowd. And if you've got no crowd there, it's pretty well pointless. And like they had the big events at you know, your WrestleManias and this and that, draw these huge crowds, but they don't have that crossover appeal they used to. And that's what's missing, because you've got, like I said, the crumb-covered fans who just want to have control of everything, and they think that you have to do a 6,000 moves and land on your head, otherwise you're not a workhorse. And you've also got like they love wrestling, and they complain the most about it. So, this is stupid, that's dumb, this is stupid, oh, they shouldn't have done that, oh, they're going to push this guy, oh, they don't know what they're doing. So if you tell someone that's a casual fan, all you're doing is complaining about the product, well, they're not going to come check it out. You know, like, it's just like the fans are pushing away as many people. It's almost like it's now become their thing of, no, this is my thing. And if you don't love it as much as I do, and you can't prove to me that you know as much as I do, and you know who was the IWGP champion in 2015 in May, then you can't watch this, you know, and you can't enjoy it. You don't understand the business.
Yeah, I think I said Davis and I last week. Davis and I were talking about it, and I was like, if fans were like they were like now back in the 80s, I could just imagine them complaining about Dusty putting himself over for the title, or the Road Warriors being like never selling anything. They're too like John Cena, uber strong, and like that would have ruined what was a great era in wrestling. And that's what I don't think crowds give like feds or storylines chances to start before they start shitting on them.
No,
they don't give them a chance to mature. And unfortunately, the federations are just trying to listen to the fans in some respects. Where, well, shit, they didn't like that straight away, we might as well just can it and get rid of it.
It's the learning how to play the long game, which a lot of people don't want to do, because I'm just going to keep tying this back to the hot topic, is this Jordan documentary. The reason why people believe and love in him so much, and, you know, like for wrestling characters like Bret Hart, is because you watched the build, you know, and like for Jordan, he was really, really good, and you knew he was amazing at this sport, but he couldn't get over the hump, you know, and so, but when he finally did, it was like 7 years into his career, he finally got over the hump, which was like the Pistons and stuff, and then that's when everyone went, oh, get behind him, you know. same as Brett. You know, Brett went through the tag ranks. He went through Intercontinental Champion and worked his way up. You know, even Stone Cold, you know, everyone saw the progression. You know, and like,
yeah,
if they'd strapped a rocket to him in WCW and he was like the young champion and stuff, it may have fizzled out. You don't know. You know, I mean, like sometimes like the adversity of not working the first time, it allows people to grow, but it also allows people to, like the fans, to grow with them. You know, like allow them to see you fall on your face. You know, like you don't have to. If they got super over that time, cool. You don't have to just strap a rocket to them. Sometimes you need to have them. The crowd needs to see them overcome struggles. You know, like overcome. You know, yeah. And then once you get them behind you, you'll never lose. You know, and like. They need to go on that ride with you, and if it's just one like a really quick ride, you know, to the top, then cool. They're like, all right, cool, that's it, I'm out. You know, and like it's like I used this analogy the other day in a class session. But if you get the girl that you get to take home straight away and seal the deal, you're not that keen to call her the next day. But
it was too easy.
If the girl that makes you wait, and you have to, and by the time you earned it, you're like. You know, I'm there, and your mates are probably going to be like, hey, good on you, well done, you know. But if you're just like, I took this girl home, banged her, and took her back, you know, it's like, you know, that's nothing. But, you know, that story of, you know, like, did this, and I did that, and I did this, and I had to come with this, and, you know, and her friend came over and tried to cock block me, but I had to, you know, like, you've got like a good arc to your story. That story is always going to get over like 9 times out of 10. So, like, you've got to have that, you know, you've got to see that, but it's like, have the patience to play the long game. You know, and so people just see success and see young people being successful, you know, and like, I mean, we grew up in that generation of you work hard all your life and you get success after a point. But then we started seeing 20-year-old millionaires and everyone went, well, I just want that. I don't want to have to do that work to that bit. And so that's where we're dealing with like an issue there. That's what the issue with society is. That's the reason why I think people are not appreciating anything. Everything's just so disposable. It's like, well, if I didn't succeed in this, all right, cool, that's it, I'm done with this, I'm going to go somewhere else. You know, and I didn't get my satisfaction from that wrestling show. Like tonight, that's it, I'm going somewhere else. It's like, yeah, they're the people you don't want. They're the people that will invest in it. And if you play to the ones that really want that slow build, you know, like that's what's gonna get over the line.
Yeah, I mean, I've had arguments with guys at shows before where they've wanted to do. They wanted to do something where I'll name them. Renegade and Linksy. I don't know if you know.
Renegade.
Yeah.
Renegade.
They're doing this whole
hack.
They're doing this oh wow.
Love you, Toby.
They're doing this whole angle at a show where it's like I think it was one of them was coming back and they were setting to have an angle with each other, and he wanted to come back, do something, and then have a match that night. Yeah, thank you. And I said, I was just like, why don't you not do that? Just don't get touched. Don't touch each other. Let the fucking crowd want that fight. Don't give it to them straight away. I said, think about it like think of an angle like a match. The good guy's out there and he's being good. He's being the heel comes in, bang. There's the heat. That's where you want to get right now. You don't want to give him the comeback, because what are you going to do? Do you want to lose to him in the very first match that wasn't planned and everything, and you've sold no tickets to it because no one knew the match was happening anyway? And
you completely just buried your whole story in one night.
Yeah, because you've already seen it.
It's that long game. I mean, admittedly, like I've been trying to teach some people about the whole fact is that just be prepared to understand that you will be in front of this crowd again. You know, like it's not just like every show, like most of the shows, like the good ones, the stuff that people are working for, you know, your Right Cities, your PWAs, your MCWs, EPWs, that sort of stuff. Like even you guys to Queensland, Rampage, they run regular shows now. Everyone runs at least at max like a 6-week schedule. You don't have to get everything in one night.
No,
because you will be in front of these people again. You know,
and you want to give them a hook to come back.
And if you want to give them something to kind of go, all right, cool. Like, if they feel like they saw it, I just saw everything. It was the most amazing thing. Yeah, no worries. They're not in a rush to come back. You know what I mean? Like, just give them a wristy. Don't give them the whole thing. They'll come back. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just, I'm taking this to a horrible place, mate. You really have to put a warning on this.
Now, see, the funny thing is that I remember having that argument with back in the day with Matty and Cree. Remember when they used to do the Right City Rumble? And it led to, I think it led to the what was the thing? Was it the Strength Cup? Was when they did it over the 3 matches?
Yeah.
Tournament. And the thing they used to do was that was the last 2 people in the Rumble went forward to do it. And I remember the first year I was booking, I moved into booking, and I said to Cree, no offense, mate, because I know this is the kind of thing, but having the last 2 people in the Rumble just stop dead and not finish the match is fucking stupid. He's like, well, what do you mean? I said, it's like fucking and then not finishing. You've given the crowd everything, and then you've just, like, the Pornhub video stopped before the guy. So you're just like...
Before you got your Peter North action.
Oh. I said, well, what do you do? I said, how did you do it? And I think the thing I said to start with is, why don't you just finish the Rumble, still have the last 2 guys go through to the best of 3, but the guy who won the Rumble gets to pick the stipulation if it goes to a 3rd match. Because then there's something on the line for winning it. That's like a home field advantage in NBA. You win enough games, you get home field.
You need, like, it's like you listen to Bischoff's podcast, and it's like he's always talking about you need stakes. You need these things, and that's the one thing I don't understand. I listen to like 83 weeks, something to wrestle, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, something to wrestle is like Pritchard. He has been a producer for the WWE for how long? You know, off and on, 40 years?
Yeah, close to.
He works for him now. He basically, in every episode, gives you the blueprint of what WWE wants, what they're after, what they look at, what they enjoy. 90% of the boys on any Australian show, what's your dream? I want to work for WWE. Cool. Why are you fucking ignoring the advice? Like, literally, I listen to it and go, wow, like, he's really telling you how to do this. He's giving you a blueprint every week when they break down shows, especially more recent stuff. What worked, what didn't work, what needs to be done, what they look for. You know what I mean? Like, some of the times, like, that's the reason why he gets so mad, and they all get so mad at, like, when Conrad reads the Meltzer's review, and Meltzer goes, oh, it was a shit match, 1 star. And he's just like, bullshit. It's a fucking great match because it got this, that, and that across.
Yeah.
Who cares? Did it continue the story? Yeah. Then it's a good match. I don't care if they didn't do 3 Hurricane Runners and 2 falsies.
No.
It told the story that we needed to get to that next step, because, yes, not every match is meant to be a 5-star match. This match, which it could be a 1-star match, got the story which went to the next match, which might be a 1.5-star match, but then it built. So by the time you got to that 5th match, it's a 5-star match before they've even locked up, because you're anticipating it, because you understand the story between it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the bit that just goes over so many people's heads these days. I'm just like, why, like, yes, people like surprises, and people like, something being thrown at them they didn't expect, and they want some quick fast action and this and that and blah blah blah, blah. And sometimes they want a storyline paid off in like a night and that sort of stuff. But the ones that really work, that really establish characters, the ones that the angles and the storylines that will stand the test of time, like your characters like Stone Cold, are the ones that have been established. And like, you watch like even like the epics like your Game of Thrones, really fucking long. Avengers. That was a long, 11 years of movies? That was a long year. That sort of payoff, which was just like, oh, how about time travel? Like, oh, that was a bit weak. Yeah, exactly. Oh, come on, mate, you couldn't have did better than time travel. But that's the whole thing. Like that, you've got to, the ones that are worth it. So to get that moment at the end, people just look at that moment at the end of Avengers and go, that's cool, I want to recreate that. It's like, you cannot recreate that moment.
without
that story. And the story is normally 10 times longer than the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if you the lack of patience to get to that moment, and I understand the whole thing. Some people go, yeah, but people are expecting that, like, yeah, cool.
Of course they are. That's
people expect the babyface to win at WrestleMania every year. Doesn't stop them from watching.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, or probably 9.9 times out of 10, your new babyface champion is going to be crowned at WrestleMania. Highest rated show of the year. So, like, wrestling fans like, as much as they say we like things that we don't expect, they also love consistency.
Exactly.
And that's what I said. If you're not willing to give them the consistency, they love to know what's coming next so they can prepare for it, and so that's almost their way of showing people, I know what's going on here, stick with me, champ, I'll carry you through this, you cheer for this, and then John Cena's going to do this move, and then he'll do that move, and then he'll do this move. So then when you reverse that move, it's like, oh, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
If he hadn't done the same 5 moves that he always does in the same order, you wouldn't expect it, but you've got like that whole thing of, remember that you're going to be in front of this crowd again, and play the long game. Play the long game. Like, establish one move or one thing or one character trait every show, and then you've got somewhere to go. You've got somewhere to go with it. Like,
that's the biggest thing that I have to do nowadays when I'm booking an angle and I'm trying to explain or sell it to the guys that I want to be in the angle, is like, you're going to do this now because this is what's happening at X point. Now, that outcome might change because we don't know how the crowd's going to react, but this is where we're going. Just so you know why you're doing this now. And a lot of guys will still complain about that. I was like, you need to trust me because this is the way it works, the way it's always worked. And wrestling will just always work. Like, the certain formulas will always work. You just change up things in it.
It's just the whole thing of like, I stick to very similar formulas, and like I always joke that I'm like, I pretend to be the Ric Flair of Australian wrestling, but I've got to the stage where I consider myself the Ric Flair of Australian wrestling because I do the same moves in the same spots all the time. So people know what to expect, like, that Ric Flair's going to take a whip to the buckle, take a backdrop, go up top rope, go to attack somebody, get thrown off the top rope. Doesn't make you like it any less.
Unless he's a baby face and then he hits him.
Yeah, and then the commentators go, it's the first time he's ever hit him.
Jerry Lawler.
That's the whole thing. You have fun with it. Like, you've got to establish stuff. And it's like, there's formulas for a reason. They work. Like, every movie follows the same formula. Just off no tangent again, like, because we've had so much time to watch movies in the meantime, like, with all this sort of not working out sort of stuff. Watch Crazy Rich Asians, which, not a bad movie. It could be a crush for Henry Golding. It happens. But it's like, we're watching it together, and like, my girlfriend doesn't watch a lot of movies, and she finds it hard to get engaged in movies. And she started to watch it. She goes, oh, this is a good movie. She get into it. It's like a romantic comedy and stuff like that. And then it was just hilarious. Like, I could just watch her going on the journey of the movie, and then I could just say, oh, something bad's going to happen here. And she goes, why is that? Like, because it's a romantic comedy. I go, yeah, what's going to happen here? She goes, how'd you know that was going to happen? I'm like, because it's a romantic comedy.
We see they've been in a shine. It's time for the heat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, something's going to happen. The mum doesn't think the daughter's worthy, and then she starts to build herself back up in the mum's eyes, and the mum shuts her down again, and then she builds herself back up again, and then it was just like, how do you not see this? And then you watch the next movie, exactly the same formula. This one, exactly the same formula. And the most successful ones have that formula, but then everyone that, like, wrestling fans or like other wrestlers and stuff, when they go, I don't want to do the formula. Why not? It's like a blueprint. It's going to work.
Yeah. See, people always point to that line in Beyond the Mat where Vince McMahon says, we're not a wrestling company, we make movies. Basically, every angle is a movie.
Exactly.
So he's not wrong in what he's saying. It's just, you know what I mean? Every angle, every fucking storyline is a movie.
Well, it's what Bruce says. Like, and you listen to, like, what's your favorite matches? What are your favorite angles? You know, and like they all played out like movies. You know, like it's just the way. And like, okay, some movies need to be a little bit more faster paced, and sometimes you ask a fan like of the Rocky movies, what's your favorite? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say Rocky 3 or Rocky 4 because they've got the music video bit. All right? So you ask people,
and the baby face gets over on that one.
You ask people what's the best Rock Austin WrestleMania match, and they'll probably say 17. The match wasn't that good because the finish was crap with Austin turning heel. But what made that match was that My Way, they just had a montage. They had the Lip Biscuit song, and they had you got to need a montage. And they picked the montage in it that everyone thinks that is their best match. The match at 15 was better. I actually preferred the one at 19, but 17 had the biggest crowd and it had the best intro. The actual match wasn't their best. It wasn't even like better than some of the matches they had at Backlash. But because it had such a good montage and because it was like a really well-built story, everyone thinks it's a better match. It's like, well, there's your blueprint right there, team.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Tell stories, kids. That's what you have to do. Tell stories.
Everyone, it's just, I mean, like I said, it's a difference of opinion with, you know, like a younger generation. And like, let's be honest, like when I was 21 years old, you couldn't tell me shit either. You know, like I get it. I understand, but it's just like, I'm not trying to take your spot anymore, kid. Like, me and Dave was having a chat the other day, and with some of the kids from EPW, and we're just like, the fact that Dave and me are the champions is like it shouldn't be happening. You know, like everyone's saying this young generation is better, and you know, like, oh, we're going to take it, and you watch us now. It's in the PWA stuff. Oh, generation now, and now we will conquer. This is obviously, yeah, cool. But we want you to take our spots. Like, we want you. The fact that we have these spots still is because you haven't taken it yet. You know, like, until you can realistically get over on some of the older guys, you know, and like the older guys over in Sydney and stuff like that, you know, like your Bonzers and, you know, that sort of stuff. Those guys are established for a reason. They're established, you know, and like, yeah, it's cool. And, you know, you get the support now as the younger guys, but you really do have to, like, I want to give the mantle to somebody.
Yeah. You're just waiting for someone to step up for it.
Someone's got to take it, you know, and if I end up losing my belt to Cree, well, then that was a waste of time. You know, like, I want a young guy to be hungry enough to come and take it from me. And the fact that they can take it from me and the crowd believes it. Not just because, oh, yeah, we pushed one of the new kids. No. That he needs to take it. And, you know, and that's what, like, I think Dave's got the same thing over in Perth. They need one of those young guys to come and take it. Because if the belt ends up back on, like, Marcus Pitt, then that's, you know, what are they doing? You know, like, because he is already established. And, like, Marcus Pitt is, like, over enough that he doesn't need the belt. He's just over. You know, and like, if Slap gets it, he doesn't need it. He's over. These young guys that want it and I want it. And I feel like I don't have my spot. Mate, we're not holding you down. We're trying to give it to you. But we can't give it to you and tell the crowd to believe it. That's the difference. I can just give you the belt. No worries.
No offense.
You need the crowd to buy into you.
No offense to them, but you've got to be fucking good to be able to be better than yourself, than Davis, than Mikey Nichols, than fucking Mick Moretti.
You don't have to be.
You know what I mean?
You don't have to be average to be better than me. You really don't have to be like. But that's the thing, though, is character-wise, in the eyes of the crowd, and like a general public crowd. Like, I mean, I reckon we should pull up the match from the Fringe show. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things is like, and the guys are like, oh God, he's heard that, he's going to get a big head about it. Of course I'm going to get a big head about it. This is what I play about. We had a guy review the show that was just a Fringe guy. He just went to all the Fringe shows and, you know, reviewed the comedy show and the circus shows. And he came to the wrestling. And we did that 8-man tag, and I made sure to carry myself like I was better than everybody else. Do I do a lot of shit? No. For a lot of that crowd, it's the first time seeing wrestling. It was a general public crowd. They want to see the larger-than-life characters. They don't know who we are. they don't know what our backstory is, but they just know that, okay, that guy seems like a big deal, or that guy. So I carried myself like a big deal. And in the review, and it made me laugh, it said the Right City Wrestling Champion and absolute box office Rocky Menero.
Yeah.
And we can go back and watch that match.
If there's someone who doesn't need that fucking tag, it's you.
Oh, but like I said, I'm going to do that more as it is. But the thing is like, that means that someone who I don't know, who's come to the show, has seen me and believed in me, or believed what I'm selling them. So that's what these guys need to understand. You can't just get the response from, the 3 wrestling fans that they're going to write favorable reviews from you online, or the other wrestlers they're going to go online and say, hey, such and such is a great wrestler, which no one would say about Renegade.
Wow.
Oh,
come on, be legit cut over that.
I love the kid. He knows I love him. Just stirring him up. But, you don't need that pat on the back and, like from the people that know you or whatever. You need to, you show me that you can engage a fan that's never been to a show. You know, like, how do you stand out to people that don't know anything about wrestling? And if they can see you and believe in you, then you've won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I've always said to guys, if it takes you longer than 30 seconds to explain to me what your gimmick is, then your gimmick isn't good.
No. But that's the thing I would say, like, similar sort of vein is with your match. If I ask you, why are you doing this? And if you, same thing, if you take longer than that time to explain it, then it's like, cool. Crowd doesn't care. What's your story for your match? Cool. Oh, right. So we wrestled each other at this show once, and then I wrote something on Twitter about him, and then he did this. It's like, yeah, cool. 90% of the people don't know that.
No.
It needs to be a lot simpler than that. And so it all comes down to, like, to engage those crowds like that. Look, I don't have the moves. So what did I do? I worked on character. I worked on my appearance. You put me in a lineup with 10 Australian wrestlers, I look like a fucking wrestler. Like, it's just, if you put me against like a random selection of 10 wrestlers, and some of them may be more over on the internet than I am, but if you asked just a random punter that was a guy to the footy and just went, wait, which one of those is a wrestler? I'm pretty sure they'll choose me 9 times out of 10. It's just, you don't have to just be like muscly and that sort of stuff. It doesn't hurt, but you've got to have a look that makes sense. Like we've been showing these RCW rewinds, like the classic shows on our YouTube feed from 2011. One of the most over characters we had back then was Jack-O-Lantern. He was incredible. And I always tell people, I'm like, you think I was popular? Jacko was more popular. He was like over like Rover, because he was tall, he was skinny, he had his clown makeup, but he had the suspenders and stuff. But it was a character. Like, it was like people who come to wrestling want to see characters. They want you either got to be like a big meathead or be a character or have something that makes you stand out. What people are going to go home going, I remember that guy, or I don't remember that guy. I remember that girl.
Even like they weren't exactly amazing. The two, like, Damo is one of my best mates. I love Damo, and Dane is just extraordinarily gifted in whatever he does. It's quite annoying, but. As Smash, they were over as Rover. And they were just learning the ropes at the time. Like, Damo had been around for a while, but like Dane especially was just learning the ropes, but they were over as Rover because they had a good character. Kids loved them.
For sure, yeah. Well, the thing is, like, you've got to make it identifiable. Like, okay, for starters, it might be what you call a gimmick and something like that, but it gets your foot in the door. It will make people remember you for next time. Like, I always tell everybody, like, my girlfriend brings friends of hers to the wrestling. Now, 90% of her selling point is, come watch, boyfriend wrestle. But then it's also, you've got to come and watch the crowd because there's some really weird people in the crowd. The crumb-covered people I was discussing earlier.
Yes.
But it's part of the show. But the thing is, like, they come away with some information that you kind of go, oh, right. So they know Zach Sabbath from RCW has the spitter. Caddy Trey is the dog boy. Like, that's how they relate to people. Like, okay, that's their gimmicks, but like, they're not going to get the nuances. They understand that Grimm's the Viking. Cool. Like, they're not going to understand the nuances of our characters and this and that the first time they come. But if you do have something the first time they come that they can relate and is identifiable,
hook onto, yeah.
Exactly. You've got to give them something to hook onto. It's just like, yeah, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. You've got to, like, I mean, one of the longest running in jokes between me and Brendan Vink, which I love the big man, and I love the fact that he wrestles under the name Brendan Vink. And he go back to your original Twitter handle, you coward. When all my friends came, like an old gym I used to work at, they all came to one of my shows, and they had a tag match. It was Bronson Reed and Brendan Vink versus the Armstrongs. And the girl I worked with,
Vic Reed.
Yeah.
Vic Reed.
That
was the name of the team.
They came to the she came to the show. Then she came to me afterwards. And she goes, "I liked your match, but I really enjoyed the men's pairs." She didn't know it was called tag team wrestling. She thought it was called men's pairs. So me and him ran with that for years. Like, he would always establish that Vic Reed, or Sex Rock as it was Australia's greatest men's pairs team. You know, like, it was just like a running joke, and it kind of got over. But it's just like, sometimes it's that dumb shit that the general public will give you that will work. You know, like,
do you know how much, as a grizzled fucking person I am, that annoyed me? Fucking men's pairs, it's fucking tags.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like,
and it worked. Yeah.
And it got heat. You know, like, it got heat from. I know all the boys hated it. Like, everyone back in the day hated it. And I looked at him and went, "You got to keep using that." If you can get that visceral reaction from one of the boys,
yeah,
then you're definitely going to get it from the crowd. You know, it's relatable. You know, and like, they can see your passion for it, and they can see how passionately angry you are getting about this, and they can also, like, as a fan, they go, "Okay, well, this obviously means a lot, so I'm in."
Oh, jeez. We'll veer off a little bit because we've had this extended break now. Do you reckon this has added more time onto what your career will probably end up being? Because I know you were probably looking towards wrapping up-ish, but now you've had a sort of break and the body's had a chance to now, you'll have a good 8-9 months for the body to heal up. You might run a little bit longer?
I can honestly tell you, the next bump I take is frightening. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, "Oh, I haven't bumped for a long time. The next one I take, maybe my last." You know, you never know. Like, I really don't know. Like, my neck is a day-to-day proposition, and so it's like one of those things where it's like, well, I might come back from the break really, you know, body's refreshed and energized, that sort of stuff, and ready to go, or I can come back and take one bump and body's like, "No, you're not conditioned for this, and you're now 37, so stop doing this." So it's hit or miss, you know, like, so it could be an absolute godsend, or it could be the kiss of death.
I remember talking to the boys about it up here. They're like, "Oh, can't wait till we can have our first show back." I was like, "Guys, you won't be ready for your first show for a couple of months, because you're going to need to get in there and train and bump for a while and fucking get your wind back. And otherwise it's going to be a whole show of 5 to 8 minute matches because no one will have any gas at all."
No one will have any gas. And that's the whole thing. Like I've kind of taken this time to have a bit of a relax with my body in that regard, you know, like, not have to keep myself in sort of, like, considered tip-top shape all year round, which I do. You know, when you go to show, you're like, shit, you know, especially when you're out there and wearing not very much and you have prided yourself on most of your career being a body guy. You have to sort of, it's always
I've never had that issue.
Yeah. So I got backstage one time. I went, why did I was fat when I first started. I could have just gone that route, you know, and I could have really embraced the, I'm a big hoss. But I didn't. I
could have got yourself a New Japan contract, mate.
No, my neck's too long for that.
Oh.
No, it's too long. My neck is too, I have an abnormally long neck. I have a giraffe. I think my father was part giraffe. It's not designed for doing. I heard about the training sessions in Japan once, and I went, "Oh, those neck bridges." Nah. I'll stick to the American hokey style. Like I said, know where you are, stay in your lane. You know, and like, that's what I'm just like. All right, cool. That was never my goal. You know, and like, I've always wanted to do the whole. You know, you want to do your 10,000 hours traditionally, and you want to do your stint in Japan and this and that. And I wanted to do it when I was younger, but I think about it now. I'm like, it wouldn't have worked. It's not me. It's not. It'd be good to know do something different and learn a different style. It's always good to acquire new skills, but it's like, well, it's not what I ever wanted to do. And like, I wanted to be a WWE guy, so I always wrestled a WWE style. It's like, well, why not do the things that they want? Like, why not why not watch the main event guys there and just copy what they're doing? Like, it seems to work for them. Why not copy? Like, that's the one thing I've never understood is when you ask guys, well, who's your favorite wrestler? And they tell you, so-and-so. And you're like, cool, they're in the third match every night. What? Yeah, they do cool shit, but don't you want to be on last? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, then you need to learn how to relate to the crowd so then you can go on last. Because, yeah, everyone wants to see the cool shit early, but they always want to go home on the big character. Like,
I was an Arn guy, and it's not really the most big, brightest character going around. But then again, like managing like the managing thing, I'm not a Paul. Like, I like Paul Heyman, but that's not my guy. My guy's Bobby. I think you can tell when I'm out there and I manage. I rip so much shit off Bobby. So much shit. Unless I'm getting angry at a punter and I turn face for like 5 seconds.
But that's the thing. Like, you watched the best and you went, well, who's the best known manager of all time? All right, Bobby Heenan. Cool. Well, then I'll steal from that. Like, I don't get the whole, like, go to greatness and steal from greatness. Like, I'm just a promise my last one. Last reference back to basketball is, like, who did Kobe emulate?
Yeah.
Jordan. Saw the best and emulated, like, and even Jordan was saying, like, yeah, he literally stole all my moves. Like, it's like, yeah, cool. He wanted the success that you had, so he followed your blueprint. It's like, what I don't get is, it's just like, the blueprint is there. Like, you've got the characters there. Like, okay, so you don't want to be Ric Flair like I did. All right, cool. Who do you want to be? And like, okay, you want to be like RVD. Cool. He wasn't a main eventer. Like, he was well-known, he was established, but he was mid to top.
Yeah.
These guys want to copy, like okay, Seth Rollins, yeah, he's really cool, and he's a great wrestler, and he's over. But does he have crossover appeal? If you put him in front of a footy fan, would they know he's a wrestler? No. But Randy Orton, they will know, because he carries himself and he has that crossover appeal. Now, okay, he's been doing it a lot longer, but you can see that charisma in Orton from a young age. I remember the first time I saw him walk out and SmackDown, oh, fuck, who's this kid? Like, he just had always had that sort of, it's the way you carry yourself, and it's that belief in who you are and carrying yourself. But also, like I said, like, understand, like, don't copy, like, unless you want to, like, it's the whole thing of it's frustrating. It's just like, I mean, I get it in my professional life. I'm a personal trainer. People go, oh, I want to lose weight and I want to get in shape and I want to do this. All right, cool. What do you eat and how do you train? Oh, I like doing things like this. Like, yeah, cool, but that's not going to work. Like, to get the result that you want, that's not going to work. Like, your body will only respond to the work you've done, not the work you think you've done. And it's the same thing with wrestling. Like, yeah, okay, cool. You like this, and your community of wrestling fans like this that will write nice things about you on the internet. But the general public doesn't care. And until you can win over the general public, you're not going to have that crossover. You're not going to have that embrace behind you. Like, yeah, wrestling fans hated John Cena forever, but WWE realized, who cares? He sells to the general public, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
Because wrestling fans are fickle. They love you, they hate you, they love you again. Like, now that he's gone, everyone wants John back. Like, it's just the way. So there is no point playing to wrestling fans because they don't even know what they want.
No.
They just know they want something different.
And you've already got them.
Yeah, exactly. You've got their money. Why bother going for more? And they're going to watch it and they're going to complain. And if I see one more event take place, well, obviously it's not going to be for a while, but that makes people go, oh, that's it, I'm cancelling my subscription. It's just like, yeah, cool. You said that last WrestleMania too, and you're still watching, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Because they subscribe to the old stuff. And that's what WWE is like. We know we're getting that money from you. We want money from new people.
I don't want it to sound like it has to sound like I've been bashing for like an hour now. And like, it's like I said, like, I know I'm like, not coming to the end of my run. Like I know I could continue on for another 4 or 5 years, whatever. Like there is always a place for it, that sort of stuff. But it's just, I get frustrated with the younger guys explaining their frustrations to me. This didn't work. They won't let me do this. This, and I hear it and I kind of go, cool, try going that way. And they just keep going that way. And I understand it's like a young person thing, and I get it. But it's just like, I'm at that stage now. I'm like, look, I want you guys to be better than I am. And you will be, and you probably already are now. But they've got to believe that you're better than I am. And like you can know it, and I know it, but they've got to believe it. And I'm just telling you, if you just kind of like, I said, not saying that I know the way and whatever I say is right, and like, it's just, I'm just letting you know what worked for me. Yeah. And what worked for me is the stuff I've watched.
You've also been in the position where you've booked places as well. So you know what bookers like and what bookers are looking for. And if you do something that they want, if you head in the direction that they want, eventually they're going to say, okay, what would you like to do? We're going to try, because you're established. Now, what do you want to do? And I don't think the guys, like you said before, the guy, a lot of, and it's not just the guys, it's everyone now want everything now.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to earn stuff, which is really fucking annoying, but it is what it is with the generation.
But it's just like learn, like I said, it's that ability to have patience, to play the long game, and to just no point. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different result. And stop banging your head against the wall. And like the older guys, like guys like myself, like Davis, even like Ryan Eagles has been coming back in, and I think he wants to dip his toe back in the water. Yeah, I see you do. But like I said, we're older guys and we're established and we've done things that work. Like someone like Slater has all this information. Like hit them up. Like us old blokes want it. Like Slater's not that old, but us older guys, we want people to flourish. Like the doors are so open for you guys right now, and it's like, why not go through them? Like you guys have the advantage that we didn't have. We didn't have wrestling. We didn't have veterans we could learn from. Yeah. Like we had our trainer, and that was it. And there wasn't anyone that had done it. Like everyone, like Jag started 6 months before I did. And he was my sort of veteran, but we were about the same age. Like it was just like, it was hard because we didn't have anyone we could turn and lean on. Like that would give you a different opinion. Like David Storm's going to give you a very different opinion to what I'm going to give you. And, like you guys that are in Melbourne are going to do the same thing. Flexi would probably give you some completely different advice than what I gave you. But it's like, take what works and run with that. Like we're not, like I said, I'm not saying that I know everything and that my way's right, but I'm just saying, hey, this is what's worked for me. This is what I've taken. Just implement bits of it, and just sprinkle a little bit of that. And then go, because it's so hard watching the guys get frustrated. You just want to I'm assuming this is what having kids is like.
Yeah.
You just want to
I haven't had any.
Direction. Yeah, me either. Yeah. But you want to steer them in the right direction, but they're just not listening. It's just like, I'm sick of you guys being so frustrated. And, everyone always talks about what they want to happen. And, I wish we could do this at shows, and I wish we could do that at shows, and I wish this would work, and why didn't that work? It's like, because you're looking at the end result. It's the process that's what's missing. And you're not interested in the 6 months that builds to a great blow-off match. You're interested in that pop. From the end of that story, you want that reaction, and you can get that every now and then with the surprise. But if you want it to be sustained, then you've got to play that long game. Like every great story has a long game.
It's like, while we were talking, it reminded me of the tweet that I think it was yesterday now, because I'm just looking at it now, that David Storm shared. It was like, when someone gives you advice, respond with, "You're right," rather than "I know," and you'll come across
that one. That one hit a nerve.
Yeah,
that one really tapped into some emotions there.
The one,
triggering, as the kids say.
that's one thing that annoys me is like when I say if I tell somebody something, and instead of going and not even before they think about it, they go, "Oh, but."
Yeah.
I don't want an "oh, but." I don't want an "oh, but."
Yeah. No. You like that's one thing. Like I've made it pretty clear with guys. If you're going to ask me for advice, take my advice. Don't. If you ask me for advice and then or just completely ignore it. Cool.
Or but or yeah, but.
I will never give you advice again. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm Tom Petty. I am very, very petty, and I will let you fall on your face before I try to help you up again.
Yep. Yeah. We had a while ago a girl backstage, and she was in training, but she'd hurt herself, and she wasn't really doing much. And Jake and I just needed somebody to basically hold the mic and ask us a question, gets their face on screen, all that. And I was looking around. I was like, "Oh, do you mind just can you stand in and be the interview girl for this? Do I have to? No, you don't. It's cool." And then I stopped thinking of things to try and put that person in because she doesn't want to do that unless it's something that's exactly what she wants. Then that's fine. She can find her thing.
They can't expect everything both ways. You got to do what you're told. It's tough.
Mate, like to be perfectly honest, I'd never said no to anything when I started. Like I didn't want to commentate when I first started at Riot City Wrestling. I wanted to wrestle.
I agreed to be a ref. I was going to be a ref for my very first show.
Yeah, as soon as they offered it, I went, well, that's a chance for me to get onto a show and put my character across before I even step in a ring. I'm going to have a head start on so many other guys that debut because people have seen me for 6 months before I even step in the ring. So I thought, of course I'll do that. Yeah, sure. It'll be great. I'll have fun. I like to talk.
Oh, well.
But yeah. All right. Like we did last week, this is where the podcast part is going to end. So if you want to get out your socials, Rocky, and we'll...
social mode is just Rocky Menero, at Rocky Menero on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And that is, like I said, that's the end for the podcast version of it because now we're going to go and break down a match. What's the match you wanted to break down?
I think I might change it up. I know I told you it was going to be the title match that I had with Katie Trey, which was good. I think because I touched on it a bit in the interview today. Is just the match from the Fringe show, the Glutton for Punishment 8-man tag. I think it's a good way to showcase a bit of what I'm talking about. I mean, the other match too, which I'd recommend people go watch, is that the Riot City Rumble title match with Katie Trey. It was one of those good stories where I learned how to try to help build a new character to get crowds to believe in someone. And he really did quite well with sort of taking that direction and just sort of like learning how to be vulnerable. And so I told him, you've got to be, and that worked, and it went quite well. It's like I said, it's a WWE style match, and I do slower style matches and it just worked. But this 8-man tag that I want to watch and touch on just to see what you need to do to engage a non-wrestling crowd. And it's and that's the kind of people that we want to build towards. So I think if we look at that one, that's a good one to break down.
All right. So for all of you listening to the podcast now, you're going to go to me talking and telling you to subscribe and all that jazz that I do after every episode and all of that. But if you're watching the vodcast, we're going to go straight into the match now.
Peace.
All right, you might notice that that Mr. Menero and myself are wearing different clothes. Look at this smile. The funny thing is, when you're recording a commentary track or something, it's usually good to press record.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that. So we've watched this. We've watched this match before. A couple of days ago. So we've given it a couple of days to breathe so we could possibly... To marinate. Yeah. And he told me...
The only thing I'm really disappointed about is the fact that anyone watching this can't see the face that you gave me when you realised you
were. You must have heard like the head hit the microphone too, because it's just like, oh,
just your face, just like, eyes just popped. That was great. Good stuff.
Because it took me.
It took record it, so you never can't see.
It took me a good 10 seconds to say anything to you, because in my head I'm like, oh no, what is he going to say? This shit.
But
I can't even say, look, don't even worry about it, because we did that whole outro to lead into this match, so we have to put that. We have to do it.
Put it in now. Can't rip people off. Could give people what they want.
Anyway, so we're here now, and we are going to start in 3, 2, 1, play.
Boom.
Boom, look at that.
There you go. So we'll run down what we've got here, shall we, Tony? We do it
yeah.
We've basically got a 8-man elimination tag here. Is that our fringe shows? So the fringe festivals are big art festivals in South Australia, and they have, all sorts of big. So we're actually wrestling in a circus tent at 2 p.m. But the beauty of the circus tent, it's still quite dark, because wrestling during the daytime with daylight coming in usually looks pretty shit.
Yeah.
But we were lucky we had this big tent. We had a huge crowd there. They were all very excited. So just a lot of sort of kids and new faces. That's one reason why I love this match so much, because just so many new people that have never been to a wrestling show, only really do wrestling for TV. So we got to give them a little taste of what we do.
And the fringe is the thing to in Adelaide at that time, like in March, when things aren't completely blowing up. That is the thing to be a part of. If you can get a show on the fringe in that, especially in that big top, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I went to a couple of shows there. Like, I even saw other circus shows and that sort of thing. My friends of mine run like Cirque Columbia, and saw a few other sort of performers in there. And it's just an amazing experience. And being able to be part of that show as well. And the boys here, young Eros and Theseus, they were actually part of another fringe show anyway as a little dance troupe. And I went and watched their show too. That's why, if you watch this match, especially Gabriel has only got a small part, but just the charisma, the personality these boys have, and you can just tell they're natural performers. And it was a big stage, like literally big stage, and it wasn't too big for them. And they really stepped up, and they were really like the highlight for that.
They weren't just in that show at the Fringe; they went to Edinburgh.
For
that as well.
They're just natural performers.
Yeah. So here we go.
Here we go. We got the big fella and our little pit bull, our little guy. Yes, look at that. Just a big ride. And then just quits up there. There's little manner. It's the little 1%ers these boys do in between, like just that little spit of his gum. It's a bit gross, but it just adds to the character. Like, people will look at that and go, I fucking hate this kid. And look at it. Like, how can you not hate that kid?
And the thing is, like, the character didn't change a hell of a lot from face to heel, but just enough that they just tweaked it enough that, they are the worst ones to take.
I love the chop that with all the rest of us to the corner shoulder too.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Gabriel, we love you, we're going to leave you, you're out.
That was go on.
It set the tone. It set the tone for what people would expect. Everyone's like, okay, so this is what we're getting for this main event. Like, the team, like I said, we were on, like, this is the main event, and they'd seen a lot of good matches. And, we'd had a lot of, we had the world-class egos and the, I can't remember the team.
Boomer and Sabbath. Yep.
Yeah, whatever they're not. I can't remember the name of the team. But they put on a barn burner for the opener and that sort of stuff. So they seemed like a lot of good wrestling and a lot of big characters. We had big Darren out there as well, and Nick Armstrong just before us. As I teased my entrance here, which I chicken shit out of. Beautiful work. Just a real classic dirtbag. But yeah, so we had to give them something a little bit different, and so something a little bit bigger. So everyone just went over the top with the characters. And essentially, you've got a team of good guys, which are all 4 guys that are sort of lining up for my title. And then me with my second, the old human hand grenade. And then we brought the boys in, because I went to bat for them, and I went, look, I want these kids in here, and I think they're great, and I think they have the sort of future. So get them in there and they were, I think I'm taking advantage of them. But I got to do these things, Sometimes you need these young blokes to make you feel young again. Yes, I see that little round there, like stick your tongue out. You're fucking gross. Like, it's an easy trait to hate, like it's identifiable. You can look at that and just go, like, even someone that doesn't know wrestling or doesn't know these characters or their backstory, you can just look at that and go, yeah, don't like that.
Yeah. What a dick.
Here we got Big Red Short. Now, he's our little powerhouse. He's our new, he's young, he's new. Yeah, I used to work with him at a gym, and he's a good kid. He's got a lot of potential. He's slowly putting it together, and I was a little bit concerned about them putting him in this match with us, but no, he definitely holds his own.
I was going to say it's very very early to have him in a match like this, but I remember they did that with Brody as well when Brody was starting out, and it was sort of like he swam. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sort of you got to give him a chance.
Sometimes you've got to do that. Yeah. Oof, maybe throws a big elbow on my head.
Good sell by Tyler too.
Oh yeah. We used to make fun of him because he used to do the catch. He's working on that catch, and I always tease him. But every time he makes a catch, he would look surprised. I'm like, dude, if you're a powerhouse, you shouldn't be surprised that the catch is coming.
Yeah.
Oh, and you'd love this. I gave him the running power over the finish.
I did
I didn't realize what's the name did it as his finish. The big guy.
Yeah.
I was thinking more Davey Boy because I don't watch any of the new products. Everyone goes, oh, someone does that. It's almost like when someone hits you up with that. Oh, Simpsons did it. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, how about this? And they're like, oh, this guy does that now. I'm like, oh, it's pretty old.
Do you know what annoys me is back in the day, and because I was watching a lot of Progress and Rev Pro and that, I tried to give Dean Brady the bitter end finish. Pete Dunne's didn't want to do it. Yeah. Didn't think it looked like a finisher. I'm like, it kind of looks cool. It made me sit up. I was lying down watching it. That made me sit up, and for that to happen, I think that's what says as a finisher.
There's a bit here I like because one of the reviewers of the show said, like, and I love it. Like I said it in the podcast, gave me a big head. He said, I was absolutely boxed up. I tried to make myself seem like the biggest deal possible, and then I never got in the ring until this moment. And then the first thing I do when everyone thinks I'm going to do something huge, the people that weren't, a lot of the crowd was sort of getting stuck into me. And the new fans were kind of like, well, who is this guy? Why is this such a big deal? So I thought it's only apropos that I'm the little shithead. Shithead, that I should just first thing I'm going to do, put on a headlock. It's nothing special. I'm not going to do anything skillful. I'm not going to give him a later. I'm going to go, what's the big deal with this guy? Like, you've got to make him earn it.
Yeah. I love the fact that all you're doing, like, you're a dude that looks like he's chiseled out of rock, but all you're doing is bumping for most of this until you're doing the big cheat. And the big pantomime.
You need the fingers. If you don't do the fingers with the brass nuts, then you've just ruined it. And here we go. Oh, look at that. And you know one thing you noticed, I don't know if you noticed that, didn't slap my legs. There's ways of throwing punches that don't involve hand on thigh action. It's a novel concept, I know. But
why do I feel like that's denoted to one member that's actually in this match?
Yeah. I'll throw that out there.
Oh, there he is. G'day, Steve.
There we go. Yeah, because the thing is with this match, like the crowd just said, when you got a new, the crowd was buying everything we were selling, because I mean, the first sort of shot to the match, Big Matty laying down his big shot, and everyone sort of was laying stuff in a bit stiffer than you probably normally would, but we needed that because. If you want to win over a new crowd, they're coming in expecting to see holes in it. Here we go. This one here, I almost lose him. Just hang on, Dick. I did steal this one from Kenny Omega. So the only move I've stolen from Kenny Omega. Whoop. And then his foot starts to go away. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I'm not. There we go. We got through it. But it's one of those things with the new crowd. everyone's seen it on TV and goes, I can see it, it's fake, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, every wrestler hates the word fake, but that's what the general public thinks. So when you got the general public, if you lay it in a bit different, they kind of go, ooh, well, I know the stuff I see on TV isn't real, but that, you know, he really hit him. You know?
Yeah.
And I find if they can see you doing that with the hand on the leg, it takes them out, and they go, oh, you know, that's just what we on TV. You know? Like, but if you're in a room like this, I mean, it was so hot in there, and I had gas over that week, hence why I looked so cut up during this match. But we were sweating so much, and if you get a clean forearm, like skin to skin on someone with the sweat and stuff like that, A, the sweat's going to fly, and B, it's going to make a good slap sound. You know, I mean, it's no different to, what's his name, that does the finger break.
Yeah. Pete Dunne. We were just talking about him.
Pete Dunne, and he just cuts his elbows to his side. That's what makes the slap sound. You know, like, it's just like, sometimes just let the sound do its own thing. You know, like you don't need to add it in there so much sometimes. Speaking
about it too, how good is Tyler Daniels' punches too? How crisp are they look?
Very good. Well, I think us old blokes, we sort of grew up with watching a era of wrestling where you had to, and unfortunately there goes
Tyler.
We still grew up in an era where, you know, it was a lot of punching and kicking. Like, he's an old WWE, WCW guy like me, and so you kind of had to have a good working punch, and that's sort of like, we sort of worked on it a little bit more than the younger guys. They sort of work on their punches, but not as much. They just tend to stick with forearms and that sort of thing, which is like it works. But yeah, there is an art to a good working punch.
Yeah, honestly, I'm terrible at it. I ended up doing the Hulk Hogan hand on top of the head, then I'd punch my own hand. I'm terrible. I'm just terrible at punching. Just terrible at it. I'll throw a good forearm.
Grab the hair and do the punch like Bret Hart when I first started, but then I started working on it and sort of, you know, I started working on trying to create this, and it's one of those, just repetition.
Yeah.
Get the reps in there. Look at that. And 6 DDT. Bam! I thought I'd bring that back. Oh, here we go. Here it comes. Now, this is a little trick for the youngsters. You notice when I sit up there, I always look around at the crowd. What I'm doing there is giving the crowd a chance to pull their phone.
Do you know the one thing? The one thing I will pull you up on a little bit is because you're a heel and you slap the top of the turnbuckle to almost encourage them to clap.
No, it's not encouraging the clap. It's part of the getting the phone bigger. Like, I did it as almost encouragement as a face. But it's one of those things of, if someone's sort of head down in their phone, which happens during matches now, people have no attention to it. This is kind of like my, like, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's like, cool, and you might want to watch this. There's not so much making, I think you might like, when I'm a face, I'll slap it like 3 or 4 times to try to get a clap going. But as a heel, it's sort of like, hey, I can wake up. You know, like, it teaches them, like, clap at the start of the to get everything going. This bit here is just a bit of fun.
Yes.
This is where, like, Eli and I thought, you know, we can have a bit of fun with this. Because the crowd was just buying it. And everything was sort of we're doing is that I take the worst Hogan bump there. I actually got backstage and I'm like, I kicked the Hogan 98 WCW bumps. They're really bad. But
the eventual bump.
I'll blame it on being sick.
Yeah.
But you know, like, I can't remember what I was saying now. There you go. Now, this is the first time we've had, so I've completely lost my train of thought, but this is the first time we've had Jet in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole point of this match was to sort of get him ready for the next show, which was eventually cancelled due to our mate COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But we needed to get him ready. Like, he'd just come off a really good feud with his brother Nick. And he was really getting over from that. He was like, well, okay, but we need to get him that status. And if you look at the team that they had, he's the smallest one. You know, like, he's small. He didn't have an identifiable character. You've got big Viking Grim. You've got the big powerhouse and Redshaw. Steve Miller has the South African gimmick. He's got Jimmy in his corner. And great. It's like, okay, but who or what is Jet Armstrong? That's the reason why we thought we've tagged him here. Sort of like 2003 Survivor Series, where Sean comes back. And it's like Austin versus Team Bischoff. And Sean doesn't get in the ring until right at the end, and then it's basically 1-on-4 with Shawn Michaels taking everyone on. I mean, he goes down swinging, but it was one of those things like, oh, okay, you know, this is the only hope, this is their only savior. we want to see this guy. We've only seen him right at the end, so it makes him a little bit more special. But if we'd seen him earlier in the match, he may not have seen it as special.
Yeah.
We would have seen a guy that came in and a guy that went out. It's one of those things I just like trying to build little moments like that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's you've got to sort of, like, it doesn't, I feel like sometimes people think I'm being selfish or just, like, but there's always a message to the man. It's like, I can always, when I set up a match, it's always like, I'll give you a why. You know, like, if you ask me why are we doing this, I can tell you why. Not just because I think it will look cool or, you know, like I want to get my shit in. I don't have any shit to get in. I'll do what I try to do to try to get somebody else over, because, I mean, look at me, I'm fucking chiseled, I'm already out. Nah, I tell you, mate, a bit of gastro a week of a show, mate, does wonders. And that's it, you know, like, I like to show that I have the mean streak, you know what I mean? Like, at the start of it, I'm playing a chicken shit. And so if you just play that flat out, people kind of will tune it out and go, he doesn't deserve to be there. But if you're going to be a main event guy and be the champion, especially as a heel, and that's the whole thing, like, I like being a heel. I don't want to be a cool heel.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and every now and then to be a heel, you have to either, you know, be a chicken shit or be an aggressive arsehole, you know, be a bully. And I'm happy to sort of play both of those roles.
That's a good. The thing about the chicken shit heel is that he is a chicken shit until he's got that advantage. Then he brings out that mean streak that, like, no, I've got the advantage now. I'm going to take full advantage of this shit. And I'm going to tell you everyone how good I fucking am while I'm doing this.
Exactly, like I'm doing in this podcast. So, you know, so, and that's the thing, like, these boys have that same sort of, the Pereira boys have the same sort of personality. And that's one thing that sort of makes me great. Like, so this is the first time we'd ever teamed together. I'd never been in the ring, and all this you can literally see sweat flying off me in this one. And the worst thing about Matty, he has the world's greatest aim, and he hits me in the same spot every fucking time, every shot. You can see the sweat flying off me.
I think it's because he doesn't do the knife edge. He doesn't go straight down.
I did another Hogan bump there. I bitched out of that one. I admit, like, my chest was blown up from that. And now Eli's covered it too. Like I said, like, the boys, like, the first time we'd ever teamed together, the four of us. Like, obviously, me and Tyler have worked before and stuff like that. Like, we've been around each other for so long. Like, even back in the old days, like flagship days and stuff. But it was the first time I'd ever actually been in the ring with the Pereira boys. But just the natural chemistry here, like stuff between me and Eli. We've never, not even really at training, even sort of hooked up. But we just sort of clicked. And it was just one of those things we got backstage and we're like, well, that works. It's one of the things, like, hopefully going forward we might be able to do some more stuff together, because there was just this natural charisma there that sort of worked.
I had the same thing. I was lucky enough that I've managed, like, both you and Tyler when you came up to Brisbane. And Tyler and I just sort of clicked straight away working on that. And I think if I was actually ringside with you for your match, we would have had the same sort of thing, because we both had that same mindset.
Well, it's just that you know what your job is, you know your role, you know, like your job in this match. And like I said, so now our job for the remainder of this match is to make this little guy on the top rope here look like an absolute superstar. And I think we achieved that. There we go, big cross body, makes a huge big entrance and stuff. There you go, comes through his big forearms.
I told you before, that's the one thing the one thing I don't like about that is that they look a little too close to his body. This is someone who's never thrown a bloody forearm, so what do I fucking know?
But that's the thing I love, the big clothesline over the top rope. It's not done enough these days. It's such a good little spot. It's like, for the general public, they look at that and go, oh shit, you know, like, it's good. It's a simple thing to do too. There you go. And I try to make it say, oh no, now oh no. What am I going to do, Toddy?
Oh, mate.
I'm in there by myself now. I don't have my advantage. I've lost my swagger. I've lost my confidence. Look at that.
Get your manager up on the apron.
Yeah. Oh, there she is.
Oh, look at that.
And there's the big guy.
Look at that. Almost like I know this managing gimmick.
Never a doubt, mate. Never a doubt. Although it was pretty funny because the reviewer of this show was a very distracted referee during the match.
Yeah.
We had an 8-man tag, you know. You've got to pull a lot of misdirection and that sort of thing.
But Michael Kent is one of the best referees going around, though. He doesn't get his due. He doesn't get his due, but he is. He reminds me. I used to really love David Starr as well in Riot City.
David Starr was my favourite from back in my first run at RCW. But now, like every show I get there, I'm just like walk up to Michael. I'm like, "You doing my match?" And he's like, "Yeah, mate."
Yeah.
I'll put in a request for him. He's that good. I like the guy.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've got like referees that I like working with. I'm like, you're on our match because I know that we'll work. You'll listen to me.
My favorite. If you look at my chest there, it's absolutely massacred. But the key is here, like the crowd's starting to get, obviously sensing that this match is getting close to a finish, and we decide we're just going to get straight into it. You can't drag it out too long because otherwise people kind of like you lose that like roller coaster high. Like they'll start to flatten out because the crowd knows what's coming, but if you take too long, you get diminishing returns. So that's why with this, everything had to be super duper quick. So I was like, right, cool. You've accidentally hit with the knuckles, shit can him out, and now the crowd starts to build because they know what's coming. Now he doesn't rush it, but he does move fast enough, and every step he takes up those ropes, the crowd's starting to build and build and build, and all I think is, please break the tape.
Beautiful. I also like the timing of his duck because a lot of guys duck way too early and make the heels look stupid.
Well, admittedly, I told him I had a bit of control of that when I literally had the old, I'll flip you out.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm very like, I don't want to be the one that's standing there looking like an idiot getting punched in the face by my own partner. And there's nothing, I've been the person on the other side too that's throwing the punch and they've moved too early. You're like, shit. It does bad.
It does sometimes backfire because we did that spot with Kellyanne and I was blocking, I was pretty much blocking Cree so Cree couldn't see when it was coming. And I ducked, Kellyanne slapped him and ended up bursting his eardrum because she slapped him so hard. And like, Cree was sitting there just dizzy as shit, as you would be when you think. And arsehole me just come over, selling that a bit too much, aren't you, mate? Come on. Just shake it off.
Toughen up, Mary. Come on, mate. No, there's those little tricks, like the little things in between there. Like I said, I trust the timing and the punches on Tyler Daniels.
Yes.
Like, I knew with Jed Armstrong here, like everything would be fine. I could, move him the way I needed to and stuff. And he's got good timing anyway.
Yes, he does.
Like, he struggles a bit with his character stuff sometimes. I think he tries to do too many things at once. But his timing and his stuff, and a lot of his work is really, really good. So it's one of those things that just...
His work is he's a really, really good worker. It's that other thing that he's really just has to work on. The whole encapsulation of the character that he has to work on. There are a lot of guys that are like that have all the... They have like A through to Y. They just need that Z.
Yeah, and the Z thing is like pretty much the only thing I've got left. Is the knowing when to put what and where. And like that, even if I physically can't do the moves myself, I know roughly what we need to do and where to do it. So I'm like, all right, cool. And that's what I love doing. I'm at the stage now, like, I like being out there performing and stuff, but let's go, it hurts. I don't enjoy the actual performance as much as I used to. Not the days like this, when it was like hot crowd and like 8-man tag and the all the personalities were there and the crowd was there for it, and it was great. The match I had with Moretti earlier in the year was great, but some other times it's just like, it's a bit of a drag. It can sometimes feel like a chore, but I love putting together a story, putting together a few spots and this and that, or like when you get that payoff that you want from a finish, that's my one big thing. I almost try to dub myself Australia's Pat Patterson. I like to come up with a good creative finish, and I'm a little guy. But I like doing that sort of stuff. Like to be able to know just from doing X, Y, Z that I could get the crowd to respond.
The reaction.
Yeah, it's so much better. Like, 'cause I can't make them respond to my athleticism. And like some of them will, some of them won't. But like I know, I wrestle on shows with Chris Bass all the time, no one's going to be impressed with my athleticism after they've seen that trick. You know? He can do,
it's a fair
he can do everything I can do, and he can do 1,000 things more, and he does them a lot cleaner than I do.
And he's got charisma. It's fucking annoying.
Natural charisma is a prick. And, Matt Bass is the same way. Matt can do so much stuff for a guy his size. It's ridiculous. So it's one of those things where I just, okay, well, that's their forte. I will say in the podcast, stay in your lane. I can tell a good story. And, okay, the first 10 minutes of my match may not have been a 5-star classic, but I'm building because I want that end bit. There's nothing worse than seeing matches where it's like cheer, and finish flat.
Oh,
it's like
it's so annoying.
You should have had them at the end. I'd rather have them at the end than have them in the middle. And I'm happy to eat shit in some silence at the start of a match. Like, I'm happy to let it build in order to get that huge finish. Like, obviously it's great when they're hot the whole way through, but if I can't get it at the start, I'm definitely getting them at the end. So I'm disappointed. If I don't get him at the end, then that's what I'm upset.
All right, guys, that is it for this episode of Wrestle Radio Australia. I know it was a very long episode, but when two mates get talking, it can tend to go for a while. Big thank you to Rocky Menero for coming on. I'm going to definitely get him on again to do some other match commentary or match analysis or whatever this thing is called, this segment is called. I'm not quite sure what to call it yet. If you guys have any ideas, comment on them below on the YouTube channel, of course. If not, just try and get to me somehow on the Wrestle Radio Australia page, which you can follow on Facebook or on Twitter. It's at Wrestle Radio AU, and on Instagram at Wrestle Radio AU. I am at Beast Eastman on Twitter. If you do like us, please do subscribe on YouTube. Also subscribe anywhere you get your podcast from. We're all over the joint where it comes to that. Apple Pods, the whole thing. If you're on Apple Pods, give us a 5-star review. It helps us get inside more ears and share the show. Also, big thank you to Riot City Wrestling for letting us have that footage. Do follow those guys on their YouTube channels. All their shows are getting put up there, and also they're digging through some of the older stuff, some like 2011 Riot City Wrestling, where you see a very young Adam Brooks and a younger Rocky Menero and Buddy Murphy before when he was Matt Silver, and a lot of really good matches on there. And that's been great. The last couple of weeks, I believe, I think they've been doing them from 2011, and I believe they're moving their way up through their library. So it's going to be good to see in the next coming weeks what they do have coming out at Riot City. So it's Riot City on YouTube for that. Please do subscribe to them and follow them because there's some really good content. Also, go and support your local wrestlers any way you can. WrestleMerch.com. You can get their stuff, and they aren't sponsoring this in any way. This is just me saying this. Feds are putting up their merch on that place. Also, the local Australian wrestlers are. So go and buy some merch from them if you can and support these guys, because at the moment, of course, there are no shows going on, so a lot of the guys aren't getting paid from doing that. So any little bit helps, especially with the federations too, because no shows, no income, you know what it's like. I don't have to keep telling you guys all about this. If you do want some Wrestle Radio Australian merch, go to redbubble.com. Anything that is bought on that site from with Wrestle Radio Australia, all the proceeds don't go to me. They go to charities that I support, and they are Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life. Two charities that, if you know Beyond Blue, you know what they do, depression and anxiety, and talking all about all of that stuff. And so with Gotcha for Life, they specialize in helping young men learn how to talk about their feelings and try and battle the epidemic that is young men suicide, which is men in general committing suicide, which is something that we really need to stamp out. Finally, keep staying home, guys. I know they're lifting the restrictions and all of that jazz, but we just need to keep doing what we've been doing for the next month or so, and this thing will really, really die out, and we can get back to entertaining you guys, which is really what we want to do. I mean, look at October. You got October with PWA, and I think MCW might even be thinking of doing something soon in October. I'm not too sure. But all of that stuff is dependent on us doing our thing right now, and that is staying at home. Or if we do go out, to keep our distance, to keep that 1.5 meters, look after each other, because in turn, that really does help everybody. And that's it for this episode of Wrestle Rate Australia. A very long episode for us. We will see you next week. I'm Todd Eastman. Be safe. Be kind to one another. See you later. That was very Ellen DeGeneres.